Good morning. So I am sticking to my exercise, but not seeing results as the weight is not shifting. Now, I wanted to go through this as there's a big thing about stress, and I often speak to people, and they were like, you know what, when I'm quite stressed a lot at the moment. I'm here, there, I'm looking after everyone else, I've got work, family life, but the one thing I'm really sticking to is the exercise. And I feel like I'm actually into a calorie deficit as well. I'm tracking my calories, or I'm tracking my food, my portions are good. And I've been doing this, but I'm not seeing a result in the scales. And I want you to consider something, number one, when do you stop when you're really stressed and perhaps struggling to fit stuff in? Number two is something called the whoosh effect. Now, I want you to consider both of these. So I'm going to start with the whoosh effect, which is number two, which might make you feel quite, he's starting with point two. So the whoosh effect, what is this? Well, I'm sharing this because sometimes it's important to remember that, like I always say, we don't have to be as perfect as we think we do, but we do have to be as more consistent than we would ever imagine. More consistent than we would ever imagine being. Morning, Alison. And when it comes to this, I want you to remind you that fat cells don't just disappear. So if you're in a calorie deficit, you're exercising, you're like, I'm feeling better, but the weight's not shifting. Consider number one, that muscle, you could be putting on some muscle. That could be impacting the scales a bit. And of course, I've been through the scales a lot. Fiber, hay fever, sunburn, all of these things. But on top of this, you've got something called the whoosh effect. So fat cells don't just disappear. They actually don't disappear. They shrink. So, but sometimes for various reasons, a fat cell will be filled with water. So instead of shrinking straight away, it might be filled with water. And for a number of reasons, after a period of time, this water may go away. And all of a sudden someone steps on the scales, they go, I lost 4 pounds this week. But and then another week, people have been like, had such a good week, I've been really consistent, but I haven't lost any weight. And then they're like trying to piece it together. And, I'm not even going to talk about menstrual cycle or hormones or anything here as well, which can also impact the weight. But in here, then we often get this whoosh, and it's like, I've just lost 4 pounds. And you haven't lost 4 pounds of fat in one day. It's actually been an accumulation of the consistency that people have had. Then people lose it. But unfortunately, what can often happen is we're not seeing the result. We're too quick to go, sod this, it's not worth it. I might as well just not do it. And this is just a reminder that the body is more complicated than just the scales, and that's just one number. And actually, we've got to put emphasis on those wins that we do daily, those micro choices that really do add up over time. And that's when I say to people, you're feeling better, you've got more energy, you're feeling your clothes fitting you a bit better, you're getting fitter, all of these things. Really enjoy those wins. They're those wins that, if you take courage from them, will translate into quantifiable goals if you're going down that route over time. Yes, we may need to amend things along the way, but the key thing is that we keep showing up, we keep going with this. And actually, are you finding it that hard? Well, it's not that hard. And that's a key thing as well, because if you can keep doing it consistently, you're going to do it for long enough to see the results that you want. Anyway, I hope that helps. And in terms of stress, I know I didn't really touch on that point, probably one for another day. But in a nutshell, cortisol doesn't mean that you store more fat, but it does make it harder to stick to the things that you need to do, which I'll come on to another day. Anyway, perhaps tomorrow. I will see you later. Have an awesome day.